Redditors who live outside America, do you think your country is safer and why? Yes. Literally one of the lowest crime rates in the world. Japan? Correct. What about giant monster attacks? Can confirm that death by giant monster attack in Japan is highest per capita in the world. I'm not going to encounter a random civilian with a gun, and if I'm injured I don't have to pay to call an ambulance. I don't think you pay to call. I'm pretty sure they'd pick you up, but charge you like $4,000 afterwards lol. If unconscious, do you have the right not to be picked up, taken to hospital and charged? What legal rights do you have to be left alone? I am not saying that being left alone is a good idea, just curious if expensive medical treatment is forced upon you because you can't say no? Every country has their own struggles, you'll probably get injured another way. I come from Egypt. Some random man dressed in all white unleashed a 1,000-year-old god on my city and killed my wife. Disney filmed the whole thing and profited off of it. Wait. I don't get it? Please explain. Yeah, I don't understand. It's making me think of The Mummy, 1999, but that's not Disney, so some other movie I guess. This is my favorite reply. Yeah, I'm from Japan as well and we get giant monster attacks every day. No, this is Brazil. You are the first no I've seen. How bad is Brazil? TBF, I don't think this is worse than the US, just isn't any better. People get robbed every day, a tons of people gets murdered every day plus the ones the news don't show. The penal system is broken and corrupt and no one bothers to fix, and of course, the president is a fucking idiot and doesn't solve shit. But well, if you know where and how to go you can keep your ass safe and things will be fine. And this is a beautiful country, nice buildings, beaches, nature, and ignoring all the criminality, poverty, economics, this is a nice country to live in. I'd like to move away? Sure, someday, but I like living here. I just don't count as a safer place than US. The only thing Brazil has up on America is in America if a group of citizens pulled a thief out of the store and beat him in the streets you would sue them and win. South American countries are unsafe in general. Yay, but I'm lucky as an European. I can't imagine hoods, gang violence and school shootings. We have bad neighborhoods etc. here too, but not as extreme and noticeable as in the US. What country are you from? Could be any EU country and most of the non-EU European countries as well. Except one's currently being invaded by Russia. Being in Europe is lucky enough, even geographically, except for Putin of course. Fuck yes. I don't have to sell my home when I have to go to a hospital. Or deal with mass shootings I bet. I'm American and I have never dealt with mass shootings. Nor have I known anyone who has dealt with them. Nor have I known anyone who has known anyone who has dealt with them. I don't worry about shark attacks or being hit by a meteorite either. But gang violence is an actual thing if you're poor and live in a big city. Most white people don't have to worry about this though. Then you're lucky. Stood in line to donate blood half a mile away from Pulse for 10 hours in June heat. Kids traumatized from active shooter drills. No one I know hasn't had a mass shooting personally touch their lives in some way. Yeah. Because it is. Unless Putin decides to come over the border to rape our women and steal our washing machines. Steal our washing machines? What? Could you elaborate? Russian soldiers are looting the civilian population of Ukraine, with a particular focus on home electronics such as washing machines. Why is that? Poor military discipline. Stealing a washing machine is the smallest crime those soldiers are going to be committing. I live in New Zealand. Smaller population so off statistics will be different, but there's not as much of a political split as there is in America and also tighter weapon laws. Not just talking guns but other weapons as well. Real estate prices can give you a heart attack, however. But going to the hospital for a heart attack won't put you in debt for life. Cool. Tricky. We have problems. We don't have the same problems. We have terrible crime rates, but you don't bankrupt yourself for life if you go to hospital. Neither do many Americans. It's literally the #1 reason for Americans to file for bankruptcy. Some URL. But many Americans do carry crippling medical debt due to terrible policies in the country. The ones who are fine don't make up for those who aren't. Yes. Because, I was born and raised in the USA, but have lived over half my life in Europe. I have a basis for comparison. Definitely safer here. Europe is not a country. He never stated it was, he only stated he lived half his life in Europe. Like I could say I lived half my life in the States. I haven't specified which state, but you know which landmass I refer to. Yes, but when you see you lived in Europe, it's a very, very general term. It gives nothing to the reader. Moscow, Belgrade, Amsterdam and Palermo is widely different experiences. Kind of. In different aspects. Animals, maybe less safe. People, maybe more safe. Less people who are stupid? But still many idiots and fuckwads. Fellow Aussie? Oh yeah mate. How you going? Not too bad, yourself? Suppose you guys made it past all the drop bears today. Don't lie to the Americans, but certainly more about recently. My kids go to school where they don't need to practice active shooter drills along with learning their times tables. I can walk into a GP or hospital for medical care and know it's not going to cost my life savings or leave me crippled with debt. I can go to an abortion clinic in my home city and there's even safe access laws preventing protesters from camping out less than 150 meters away to stop them harassing or intimidating people trying to access those services. Sure, we might have more than our share of venomous snakes and other critters, but they're mostly more scared of us and will avoid confrontations with humans if they can. Don't worry, in America we've given up the times table, so there's more time for shooter drills. I'm an American that immigrated to Canada, and yes, it's safer here. This isn't an opinion but just a fact. There is far less crime here in Canada. I've been curious about that. Do you have to take a lot of anti-Americanism? While I've encountered several people that hate the United States, I've never had anyone hold it against me. Usually if anyone tells me anything bad about the US, they seem hesitant to at first, and then I usually say, whatever you're going to say about America, I've probably said worse. Canadian here. Not sure about safer, as I hear all kinds of shit going on in my city/suburb even, but I don't feel unsafe. I'm a woman and I feel just fine walking around by myself morning, noon or night. Yes. Much safer. Germany. Much less violent crime here, and our government at least tries to secure basic living needs a little. And better workers' rights. Yes. Less people. Less chance of cunts. That's not how this works. Fewer, and also not how statistics work. Aussie? Irish. Yes, the worst I've ever encountered is a 12-year-old with a knife that just wanted one of my cupcakes. Ha ha, scary 12 years olds. Did you give him the cupcake though? Yeah. I mean, I can't legally defend myself in my own home, but at least I don't have to worry about them bringing in an AK, and me having to pay $4,000 just for the ambulance ride if I survive. Our law is slightly more stricter and punishments are slightly more harsh, plus how Islam is very major in the country, which makes people rethink their choices so they don't end up in hell. Saudi Arabia, baby. We also got universal healthcare. Yes, I 100% think England is much safer. You may very well be murdered here, run over, killed in a terrorist stabbing, car attack or bombing. Or be raped, robbed and much more, but we don't have guns. The vast majority of the time, a murderer can only commit a few murders at a time with a bladed weapon, before either having to flee or being apprehended by the public or police. Whereas in the USA, a single person can kill 50+ people in just a few minutes. England isn't the safest country in the world, but the chances of being caught up in a serious crime is rather low, and even if you are present during a serious crime, it's much easier to defend yourself against someone with a knife than someone with a gun. You've echoed my sentiment, plus if you need emergency care and you do get stabbed or hit by a car, you're not going to have to worry about paying for it. To caveat that, if you want any kind of operation or non-emergency care, the waiting lists are absolutely absurd. I live in Australia and I think it is safer because a number of statistics suggest that it is. Homicide rate is significantly lower, life expectancy is higher, motor vehicle deaths are lower. Mass shootings don't much factor into my assessment, but it is nice to never have to think about them. I think the US is fairly safe by global standards, but it did amuse me when, before my wife moved here, she was told that she shouldn't leave the US because it's the only safe country. We Aussies need to realize how lucky we are to live in Australia. It's nice not having to worry about some cooked fuck with an AR-15 shooting up a Woolies.